Hitting record right now, so we're starting. All right. Good morning, everyone. Sorry you didn't have the music to go with that great video. Technology, we're still learning. Um, this morning we have Neil Van Dyke and Doug Hollers who are going to share their screen, and they're going to talk about transcripts. There's a recorded session. I think Neil's going to talk about a little bit, and then he's going to talk about some other things for you to know as you're talking to students this year. So, Neil, if you want to share your screen.
Get right on it. And Monica, if you are recording, that's good. And muting the rest of the audience so you guys can just see my screen.
Hold on one second. I'll mute everybody.
She's muted everyone, and now I am up. So good morning, everybody. I am excited to be with you guys this morning, talking to you on the coffee chat this morning. It's been a bit of a rough morning for me. I scrambled to find several things that I needed this morning, but I don't drink a lot of coffee, but I am getting an organic energy drink, I guess is what you call it. So you're about to get the full-fledged, all on the caffeine Van Dyke here in my office. So I always have to remember that once I get jacked up on the caffeine, sometimes I talk a little fast, and my soccer players always say, you're speaking Van Dykenese. So I hope you guys are able to translate that this morning. I hope that you were all able to see the transcript video yesterday, and I hope that it made some sense. That's a bit of a long video. It's a great session. It's one of those sessions that I always enjoy doing because I feel like that you can learn a lot from a transcript. As you know, and as I know, our students are more than just black and white numbers on a page. But I like to use that transcript to get to know those students and to see where they jump off of the page or jump out of the black and white numbers and into a real person. So I'll open up for questions after I'm done giving you some updates here with the transcript for anything that you guys might have had from yesterday. But I'm going to start with our transcripts, and let's see. The things that you need to know from our transcripts that are changed from last year, things that you might see that are different from any normal year that you would see. If you're new coming on, this will just be something else that's thrown at you that's a little different. But if you are used to looking at our transcripts and used to seeing those numbers and seeing those things in certain places, we obviously had a few changes from the quarantine from last semester, and things that you can look for on that transcript. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is that PC19. So the students had a chance or had an option to take a PC19 as a grade on their transcript. And so what that PC19 means is a pass COVID-19. So they got a passing grade. They opted not to take the number grade for that class. And so they're just getting like a pass fail you would get in college. They just kind of took a pass on that in that class for the semester, and so they will receive a 1.0 credit but no GPA point. So just as a point of reference, I'm going to skip forward here and I'm going to show you this on my screen. So if you're looking on my screen, you'll see in orange, you'll see a PC19 highlighted in orange. For this student was art survey, art 115, art history survey 2. So if you'll see that their mark was a PC19, their weighted and unweighted GPA point was 0 because they did not receive a GPA point, but they did earn a credit toward graduation. So that's the first big change that you'll see. As you'll notice, and you'll see this on all the transcripts that you guys look at, the Cavalier Connect C19, you will always see a PC19 there. But you'll also see a 0 on the earned credits. That is your homeroom. At East, it's a Cavaliers Connect. At Chase, it is Trojan Excel. And at RS, you'll see Topper Time. So any of those that you see on those transcripts, you will also see a PC19 there. they will not receive a GPA credit because you never receive a GPA credit for that class, and you never receive a credit for that class either. So that's the one anomaly you'll see. So that's your PC-19. The next thing that you'll see is a WC-19, and that's a withdrawal COVID-19. So you'll get no credit and no GPA point there. And you see that here with this student in the screenshot. So they withdrew from the class. They didn't want the credit. So it's like a withdrawal in a college class. They didn't receive a credit earned, but it also did not hurt them as far as their GPA goes for a high school GPA. So they didn't get a failing grade. They didn't get a passing grade. They just withdrew from the class. So they did not hurt them as far as their GPA goes, and they just didn't get a credit toward graduation. So those are the two things that you will see that are different on a transcript this year as opposed to any other year. The other thing that you might see that's different at the schools is if a student were taking an AP class, they move to year-long half credits. So, and I think I have this on here. I don't on the screenshot, but in a year-long AP course, they'll get a half a credit for the first semester, a half a credit for the second semester. And because that class was year long, it adds up at the end of the year to be one full credit. So that is a little bit different from previous years where they just had the AP class at the end of the year and one credit. There's your changes on your transcript. I will open up for just a second to see if you guys had any questions on transcripts from the video yesterday. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer those before I move on to the next topic or the next point of emphasis. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to rapid fire at me.
Neil, I have a question.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for yesterday's. It was really very informative. But I was surprised that you didn't address the baseball credit on there. I didn't know what it meant. And on that transcript at one point, I mean, it went from like 100 down to 45. And I just was curious as to what that meant. Okay.
So that's a great question. And I just pulled that baseball credit as just a random example. So the 44 went on that would be they failed that class. So anything that is an F or below, there's a number grade for that. And so baseball, the baseball PE is a PE that is for all the baseball players. So it's typically a fourth period PE, and the guys go down and they work out and they lift just like a football PE would be. It's a sports PE, and this student in that scenario failed that course. So they failed that PE. They got 0 credits and 0 GPA points for it. Does that make sense? Good.
Yes, it makes sense. I just thought that was that would have been a point that you'd want to talk to the student about. I mean, why would he all of a sudden drop out? I mean, apparently that's what happened.
Okay. Absolutely. And for me, that's a great point. You're already well on your way to translating that transcript, because for me, any zeros or any sudden tank in grades or any sudden failures, you're going to want to say, okay, tell me what's going on. A lot of times when you see those instances happen on a transcript, there's a life event that's happening outside of school, or there's a friction somewhere else. And so that just opens up and it gives you a better platform to get to know the student better. Maybe how can I help you get through this situation, or how can I redirect you to the right service to get help for that? So great point.
Thank you.
Neil, can I go back just a second to this slide with the PC-19? Just to clarify, and this may have been clarified in the video too, but for anybody who hadn't watched the video, for our students last year in the second semester, spring semester, they had the choice of either taking their grade in their class, taking a PC-19, or taking a WC-19. So they could take the grade, and that grade, if they took the grade, then that meant that grade was going to help them. It was either an A or a high B, where they may have been making C's and D's. So it should have been a grade that was going to help their GPA, and that's why they took the grade. If they took the PC-19, they were passing the class, but that grade may not have been an A or a high B. It might have pulled their GPA down. So then they would have chosen the PC-19 so that it didn't hurt their GPA. And then the WC-19 would have been chosen if they were failing that class and didn't need that to go into their GPA at all, but it doesn't count on the transcript as a failing class. It just shows that they withdrew from it. So that was their option. So really a kid should not have failed any classes, right, Neil, in second semester, because they should have taken a
Correct. So both of those scores, that's a great point, Monica. Both of those scores, or both of those points of reference, allowed a cushion because there was a pandemic and something that the student couldn't control. So we were trying to help the students not negatively affect their GPA during time. So both of those should provide a cushion for our students to maintain their current GPA or improve their GPA, not hurt their GPA.
Right. So you really shouldn't have seen an F on their transcripts last year for students. If you did, then there's something else going on, and they may have just not shown up at all. But for most kids should either had their grade or PC-19 or a WC-19 on their transcript for spring semester last year.
Yep. And I say again, transcripts are one of those things that I love to talk about just because I think it provides a great platform for us to get to open up and know our students. Things that might not necessarily hear them say verbally. They may give you contact points. It's like the question earlier about the F. It may give you a contact point to say, hey, what's going on here? What's happened here? And how can we get through that situation or that issue? If there are no more questions.
Well, one more point too, and I know the other thing is
you're really good or really bad. Yeah.
No, you're not going to get to see the transcripts unless you come in. But if you do want to come in and review their transcripts from last year, then again, make an appointment with one of the people at the schools, come in and look at their folders so you can just review those transcripts before you start talking, or even while you're talking to them this year. That's an option for all of you. Sorry, Neil, go ahead. I'll mute myself.
Oh, you're good. No. The only thing I was going to say was I either did really good or really bad. Either that was crystal clear and you guys were like, yeah, or you're like, man, I got no idea what this guy is talking about. So either way, not really sure. But the next point that I was going to talk about before we go into school year structure is I've been running a online mentoring program with our college students for the past 4 years. And it's a continual improvements that we're trying to make in that program. And just a couple of things as you guys are going through that in this different time that we're in. Couple of things just to remember as mentors. You guys have all been coming into the school, and coming into the school provides structure for you. And you have students that come to see you face to face. And you have that specific time with them. Things that I would remind you of as we're texting our students and as we're meeting outside of that structure, be persistent, be faithful, and be consistent with your communication. Because you guys have been coming in, it has provided that structure for you that you can turn it on when you come into the school building and talk to those students directly, and then turn it off when you leave. Because you're not walking into the school building right now per se, don't forget about your kids or think, oh yeah, I'll get to that tomorrow. And sometimes that just kind of balloons and goes downhill. And I don't believe that'll happen to you guys, but it's always something that I try to tell my mentors to be aware of. Make sure that you're contacting those students at a specific time during the month, or set yourself a deadline or put it on your calendar, just so you don't forget, and just so the student knows that they're important. That's really the biggest thing for me as we're moving into this online mentor and texting platform for this semester, or for right now in our current situation. It's just not to forget your students and continue to maintain some of that structure.
The other part of that, I think Neil's learned while he's been doing this, is that the persistence part, even if they're not responding back to you, they're getting information from you. So you may not hear back from them, but when the crisis starts or something happens, then they're going to know you're there, and they're going to reach back out to you at some point. So I think Neil's had that happen several times where he hasn't heard from a student that he's been texting for almost a year, And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, that student texts them back and says, hey, I need some help on something. And I've been getting your text, so now I need your help. So even if you're not getting a response, just keep reaching out to students, because when they need help, then they're going to know you're there and reach back out to you at some point in the year.
Yeah,
I think that's
being a
another
mentor
lesson
is a
learned.
thankless job sometimes. You feel like, and it's nice to get that immediate gratification, and a student, you know, getting a high five when they walk out or a smile on their face. And in this scenario, you may not get that, but you just got to be faithful and persistent. So yes, good point, Monica. Great point. So I'm going to turn this over to Doug Hollers at this moment. Doug, if you will just tell me when to move forward on the slideshow. Doug's going to talk to you a little bit about school year structure and what's going on in the school year right now, and the changes that are about to happen.
Thank you, Neil. Neil, you can go on to the next slide. I won't take much time. Just as we all know, or probably may not know, we've been going on a school structure so far of 2 periods, first and second period on Monday and Thursday. Wednesday is a remote day. It's also a cleaning day for people here, staff and everything. And then B group is Tuesday and Friday. The main thing that we've been facing is a lot like Monica talked about yesterday. 3 hours in the classroom is a long time, not only for a student, but for a teacher as well. So as of Monday of this week, if you look at this slide, this is the Chase schedule. I'm not sure, East and Central will probably be close to the same thing, I'm sure. But we are going to 4-class day. First period from 8 to 9:48, second period from 9:53 to 11:27, third period 11:32 to 11:36, and fourth period 1:41 to 3:15, which cuts down on the time in one class considerably. Wednesday will still be a remote day as well, and all the other things that are listed there that will be taken care of. The main thing I wanted to tell you about with the school day and what it looks like is Monica was talking about yesterday. She went into the cafeteria and seen just spaced apart, hollering at each other, talking to each other. Well, here at Chase High School, they don't even get to do that. What they do is they take their lunch and their breakfast into their classroom and eat with the class that they're in for that day. So basically, they're just seeing 2 classes per day. The halls are absolutely so quiet. I'll just scream down the halls just to make somebody jump, to make sure they're alive. And it's just tough right now. But I think with us going to the 4-class day, that should open up a little bit. We do have a lot that's on remote that we're trying to deal with as well. Morale is not good right now, but that's why it's so much important that we need you as mentors, or just to step up and help us in our efforts to bring back a little bit of consistency. I don't know how long this is going to last and everything else, but what we're in is what we're in. And what we need, Ms. Price, is more hugs from you when we're able to hug again. Or Sally Blanton, I tell you what would help me would be a pound cake. That would help me tremendously. Grady, we need your wisdom. That's what we need. That's what these kids need. Ricky Petit, we need your prayer. That's what we need. And lastly, Philip Minor, just always remember that the anchor does hold, and you guys are the anchor, and don't you ever forget that. And I go back to what Monica said again yesterday. Don't let this technology detour you from wanting to have that heart of service for these kids. We appreciate you so much. We can't do it without you. And with this class schedule change and everything that's going on with it, we're going to need you even more. So please don't feel like that you're not appreciated, because you certainly are. And these kids will get to signing up here before long. The other thing is I was going to talk about just briefly, Neil, you can move on to sports. This sports schedule is what's moved out. The only 2 things that I know right now that are going on, I talked to the cross country coach this morning. They're beginning on November the 17th, and volleyball, ladies volleyball, is beginning on November the 19th. And there is a list, man, Neil had it on here. I probably should have kept it on there, Neil, but I took it off. But it's where football don't start till the spring and everything. All these sports that don't start till the spring. hopefully by then, some of this stuff will ease up a little bit. I can't tell you the importance of what it means to these kids for you to show up at a ball game. I know one that really absolutely just tickles me is Wanda Price. Every time I go to an East game, even though I teach here at Chase, I still go to an East game and I'll hear Wanda Price say, I had to come see my mentee. I had to come see my mentee. And I know that means a lot. So with sports and everything going on with it, they're still called student athletes. And right now, I think we need so much more help as a student more than we do as an athlete. And I don't mean that in a negative way. That's about all.
Doug, I'll add to that. Doug,
yes, sir, absolutely.
even if you don't feel comfortable right now in the current climate attending a ball game, because attendance will be something that will be pushed out, and we may be at reduced numbers and all those things, trying to be safe. Just asking your student about a sport, if they're involved in a sport, how the game went, knowing what the schedule is, asking them for a schedule, and just following up to see how they performed that night, or how they're feeling about the team. Those things always provide great talking points for you guys in talking to your mentees.
Yeah,
and make them feel appreciated. That's I guess the bigger thing is make them feel appreciated and know that you're interested.
Yeah. As a bee needs nectar, these students need you.
All right, now to your favorite part of that morning. We've got door prizes.
All right, so that's back to me, I think. We have door prizes for all those who showed up this morning, and every day Leslie goes through the list of people that show up and adds you to our pot. So it's only the people who have showed up on the Zoom call that are in the pot. We have a $25 Amazon gift card and a $25 Copper Penny gift card. Let me make sure I was right. Yes, Copper Penny. So I'm drawing a name. Wanda Price. Look at there. Doug just giving her shout out. So
thank you.
Get the $25 Copper Penny gift card.
Good.
And then I'll draw another name. Eleanor Whitworth. You've got a $25 Amazon gift card. So congratulations to you two. Thank you guys for showing up. If you have other questions, feel free to email us, or if you come to one of the in-person Remind trainings today or tomorrow, you can ask questions then. So far, we've done 4 Remind trainings, and I think they've gone very well. I think the people who've been able to attend are feeling a lot more comfortable with this. So just want to encourage you to make sure you attend the training. I think it will make you feel better, and we'll make sure you're set up and ready to go. We appreciate all of you coming out this morning. If you have questions, let us know. Let me make sure there's nothing in the chat. Okay, nothing in the chat that I need to answer questions on. All right, so we are finished for this morning. I did record this session, so thank y'all for the reminders. I've had 3 people come in here after Sharon remind me to record. So I've recorded this morning. We'll post this up on the website as well. You should have gotten an email with all of your links for today. Remember to go to the silent auction and bid. There's lots of things on there. We're actually adding a few more things. Francis Bailey brought in some plants yesterday, so we're going to be putting those up today. So make sure you go check those out. If you are not signed in, it's really sort of cool. I just got a message on my text messages. Let me find it. That told me I had been outbid for one of the items I bid on. So that's sort of cool because it tells me when I need to go back in there and rebid. So if you want to know how to do that, if you look at the upper right corner where it says your account, you can go in there and put that in there for them to text you when you get outbid, and then you know you need to go back in and check on your items. So it's a pretty cool system. It can show all the things that you bid on. So it's pretty neat to have that system. So I'm gonna go back in and check my bids today. It is open to people in the schools as well, so you might be competing against more than usual, but please make sure you go in and check on those items. You will get bingo calls at 10, 11, and 12 again today. I've decided we may need to do that throughout the year because everybody seems to be really enjoying the bingo. So we may try to do some games like that throughout the year just to keep touch with everybody. If we don't see you today at the Remind training, for those of you signed up, then we will see you tomorrow morning for coffee chat. Thank you, guys. See y'all
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
Thank you.
Ellen, Doug.
Thank you.
Copy
Thank
check.
you.